The smarter you are, the harder life can feel. It's not because people are against you, it's because you notice things others don't. You see the lies, the strange rules and the confusing ways the world works. Once you see them, you can't unsee them. Most people live their lives without asking questions. They follow routines, enjoy simple things, and believe the stories they've been told. But you see beyond that. You notice fake smiles, empty goals, and how society runs on things that don't really make sense. And this doesn't make you feel better than others. It makes you feel alone. The more you understand, the harder it is to ignore how strange life really is. But what if your intelligence isn't a burden? What if the thing that separates you from others is actually your greatest strength? If you can learn to manage your thoughts and not let fear or overthinking take over, you can turn your mind into a powerful tool. Being smart should be a gift. But the truth is, the more you know, the harder it is to feel peaceful. Schopenhauer once said that being aware brings more suffering, not because life is cruel, but because the more you see, the less comforting life becomes. As a child, the world feels magical. But as you grow and become more aware, that magic fades. Things that once felt important now feel fake. The traditions you were told to respect become empty habits. The dreams you were encouraged to chase feel like traps to keep you running in circles. You begin to notice patterns others ignore. You see how easily people believe lies if they're told in the right way. You watch them dedicate their lives to ideas that don't make sense when you really think about them. And when you try to explain this to others, they don't want to hear it. They don't respond with curiosity. They get defensive. Most people want comfort, not truth. They want to believe their life has meaning, that the systems around them are fair, and that happiness just takes a certain routine. When you challenge these ideas, they don't see you as wise, they see you as a problem. That's the strange part about being intelligent. The more you see, the more disconnected you feel. You don't reject people. You just find it harder to connect when your thoughts go deeper than theirs. Small talk becomes tiring. What excites others doesn't move you. Eventually you might wonder if something is wrong with you. Why can't you just enjoy life like everyone else? Why does everything feel so serious and complex? But that's just the nature of awareness. It's easier to be happy when you don't think too much. When you don't overanalyze, when you just accept life as it is. But even knowing that, you probably wouldn't trade your intelligence for ignorance. Because while awareness brings discomfort, it also brings strength. When you understand how things really work, you can move through the world with more control. While others react without thinking, you can see what's coming. While they follow the script, you can change the story. But many smart people never get to that level. They stay stuck overthinking, doubting, feeling trapped in their own minds. Because intelligence on its own isn't enough. Knowing the truth is just the beginning. The real challenge is knowing how to use it. The world isn't designed for deep thinkers. It favors people who follow the rules and fit in, not those who ask hard questions. That's why smart people often feel stuck. The world tells you to play the game, but the game itself feels pointless. Some people withdraw from the world. Others distract themselves with entertainment or busyness. But there's another option. Instead of fighting the system or running from it, learn to use it. Turn your intelligence into an advantage. Learn to act like you fit in, while thinking far beyond everyone else. But to do that, you need to escape the biggest trap when your mind becomes your prison. The smarter you are, the more risks, outcomes, and problems you can imagine. That's great in theory, but in real life, it leads to overthinking. While others make quick choices, you're still stuck weighing every option. You see all the possibilities, and that makes it hard to choose. This is the curse of overthinking. The smarter you are, the more you analyze. And the more you analyze, the more uncertain everything becomes. Nothing is black and white. Every decision feels complicated, risky, or unclear. But life rewards action, not hesitation. And smart people often freeze, trying to be perfect before they move. They overthink, doubt themselves, and wait too long, while others less smart take chances and move ahead. Carl Jung talked about the shadow, your hidden natural instincts. Smart people often push this side away and rely only on logic. But by doing that, they lose the ability to act boldly or quickly. Others may fail, but at least they're moving. That's the ironic part. Intelligence can lead to inaction, while ignorance leads to success. Nietzsche said true power comes not just from thinking, but from acting. Knowing things isn't enough. You have to use that knowledge. A person who thinks deeply but never acts is just as powerless as someone who never thinks at all. The difference is, one suffers more. Some intelligent people look down on action. They think successful people are just lucky or not that smart. Maybe they're right, but it doesn't matter, because life doesn't reward those who understand the rules. It rewards those who use them. Deep thinking often goes against the norm. And the world doesn't reward those who go against the norm. It rewards those who fit in. This is why intelligent people often feel disconnected. It's not because they can't talk to others. It's because most people don't care about the things that matter to them. People bond over shared experiences, simple joys and familiar stories. If your mind works differently, that bond is hard to build. So many smart people give up on connection. They pull back. They focus on their own work, their own thoughts, and the more they isolate, the more alone they feel. But even the smartest person still needs connection. Loneliness isn't a sign of being smart. It's a sign that you haven't yet learned how to share your mind in a way others can relate to. The answer isn't to pretend to be someone else. It's not to hide your thoughts. It's to learn how to express them in a way that others can understand. Great thinkers were also great communicators, not because they made their ideas shallow, but because they found ways to make them relatable. That's the key. Be like a chameleon. Change how you speak, not what you believe. Learn how to meet people where they are. Share your thoughts in a way they can hear. Smart people who do this don't just think deeply. They influence deeply. They turn their intelligence into power. Because here's the truth. The smarter you are, the heavier the world feels. You see too much. You notice what others ignore. You live more in your head than in the moment. And sometimes that makes life feel like a movie you're watching, instead of a story you're living. This is what Albert Camus called the absurd. The feeling that life has no real meaning, and that all the systems we build are just ways to avoid facing that truth. Most people don't deal with this. They stay busy with work, relationships, or fun. But smart people see through it all. And when you see through it, it's hard to go back. Schopenhauer said that the smarter you are, the harder it is to be satisfied. You want something real, something deep. And in a world full of distractions, that's hard to find. So you search, and often you find nothing. That's the trap. Always searching for meaning, and never feeling like you found it. This leads to sadness, disconnection, and a feeling that you're just watching life pass by. But intelligence doesn't have to lead to hopelessness. It all comes down to direction. A smart mind without direction starts to destroy itself. But a smart mind with purpose can change the world. That's why the greatest minds, Tesla, Da Vinci, Aristotle, weren't just thinkers. They were doers. They created, they built, they changed things. They didn't let their thoughts sit. They turned them into action. If you don't use your knowledge, it becomes a weight instead of a strength. So here's the final truth. Your mind can be your prison, or it can be your greatest tool. The difference is how you use it. When smart people have no purpose, their minds turn inward. They start to overthink, question everything, and sometimes even break down their own thoughts. They search for answers that might not even be there. That's why a lot of smart people end up stuck in loops of doubt, worry, and confusion. They become trapped in their own thinking, seeing too much, but not knowing what to do with it. But intelligence was never meant to be a prison. It's supposed to be a tool, a weapon, and when you start using it like that, everything changes. The first thing to understand is this: just knowing what the problem is doesn't mean you've solved it. Many smart people make this mistake. They think that because they understand a situation deeply, they've already made progress. But understanding alone isn't enough. You can break down every part of a system and explain what's wrong, but if you don't do anything with that knowledge, it's useless. Intelligence without action is just a smart way to waste your time. Thinkers like Nietzsche talked about how important it is to go through hard times and push through pain. That's what makes you stronger. The most brilliant people in history didn't avoid suffering, they used it. The way to stop being trapped by your intelligence is not to think less, but to think better. Don't just sit and watch life happen. Use your mind to change things, because here's the truth. Being smart only becomes a burden when you're not using it for something. The mind needs something to work toward, a goal to chase, a challenge to overcome. Without that, it starts turning against itself. Some of the most successful people weren't just thinkers, they were doers. They didn't wait for everything to be perfect. They took action. They tried. They failed. They learned. And they moved on. They knew that waiting and worrying leads to nothing. Taking steps, even messy ones, is better than standing still. So if you want to stop feeling weighed down by your intelligence, stop seeing it as a problem. See it as a tool. Start focusing on solving problems, not just analyzing them. Move from thinking to doing, from questioning everything to committing to something. Because intelligence alone isn't enough. You need willpower, courage, and the strength to take risks, especially when the outcome is uncertain. That's the difference between those who let their minds destroy them and those who use their minds to change the world. Some of the smartest people get stuck in doubt, constantly overthinking. They wait for perfect conditions, which never come. Meanwhile, others who are less smart take action and rise to powerful positions. Why? Because being smart without knowing how to use it is like having a sword and never taking it out of its case. Smart people often fail because they avoid strategy. They think manipulation is wrong or beneath them. They think truth should win by itself. But that's not how people work. People are moved by emotion more than logic. If you don't learn to guide how others see things, someone else will, and they might be less smart than you, but better at understanding people. This is why being persuasive matters. It's not about lying. It's about knowing how to talk to people in a way they respond to. It's about knowing when to speak and when to let others believe what they want. It's about guiding them where you need them to go, without resistance. Most smart people lose because they want to be understood, but true influence comes from making others feel understood. Those who don't learn this get frustrated, watching people with less knowledge rise. But those who do learn it understand the game. They don't fight it. They play it better. They don't argue. They guide conversations. They don't show off their intelligence. They use it quietly, with purpose. True intelligence is about making your mind work for you. It's about shaping the world, not just thinking about it. Because this world isn't built for deep thinkers. It's built for those who follow. So if you think deeply, you'll feel like an outsider. And that's hard. You see through the lies, and you feel like you don't belong. But there's another option. You don't have to withdraw. You don't have to fight everything. You can learn how to move through this world untouched. Most people live by rules they don't even see. But the ones who understand the system can rise above it. They know when to play along, and when to step back. They use the system. They don't let it use them. And the biggest skill they have is emotional control. Most people react. They need approval. They get pulled into fights that don't help them. But if you stop needing validation, if you stop reacting, you become unstoppable. You can't be tricked, baited, or controlled. That kind of control separates those who get played from those who play the game. Many smart people reject the world because they see it's fake. But the key isn't to reject it, it's to master it. You don't have to believe in the world's values to succeed in it. Learn how people think. Learn how to move through society without being part of it. This is the highest level of intelligence, not just thinking differently, but knowing how to live in a world that doesn't think like you. The smartest people don't waste time proving they're smart. They move quietly, always thinking ahead, never showing all their plans. That's how they thrive, not just survive. The real tragedy isn't that smart people suffer. It's that they don't use their potential. They think deeply, see far, but get stuck waiting, analyzing, and doubting. But intelligence is meant to be used to shape, to build, to act. When it stays locked in your head, it becomes a curse. But when you use it to make things happen, it becomes the strongest force in the world. Look at people like Nietzsche, Tesla, Da Vinci. They didn't just think, they acted, they built, they changed the world. They understood that intelligence only matters when it's used. The mind is not a place to hide. It's a weapon to fight limitations. That's the final step. Realizing that being smart isn't about being right. It's about using what you know to move forward. The world rewards people who act. If you want to be remembered, it's not enough to think. You have to do. You can let your thoughts trap you, or you can use them to break through. The choice is yours. Intelligence becomes power only when it's used. If this message speaks to you, subscribe now to keep receiving such deep knowledge. This isn't just a gift, it's a key. The world belongs to those who think, but even more to those who act.